an invisible cape is a magic trick. It's a tenuous operation of unfathomable nuance. It's an ever-evolving string of happy accidents. It's a culture made up of weirdos and rule breakers and genius of design and beach freaks and brainiacs and cavemen and crooked little flowers. It's been a huge part of my identity for as long as I can remember. It's helped me make friends. It's given me something to claw at. And guitar playing for me has been my way out of town. It's introduced me to people and places I never would have dreamed existed. It's a kind of a well-worn story, but I, like so many other 6- and 7-year-olds, got hooked on the Knights in Satan's service, you know, pretty deep. My dad had taken me to Corvettes, which was East Coast, kind of like Kmart or Target or something. It was going out of business, and they had 2 records for $1, and he told me I could pick out a record. And I was too short to thumb through the bins myself, so my options were limited, and I chose the one with the superheroes on the cover. But then the sound of it was, it just sunk its teeth into me. My introduction to playing the guitar was in 2nd grade. I was 7 years old. I graduated from my wooden tennis racket and a half-empty box of blood capsules to my dad's garage sale special, which was this neglected nylon string guitar that he kept in a pleather vinyl zipper bag. It had one bulky metal zipper only on the end, so you had to feed the guitar through the metal teeth of the bag, which was a terrible idea. Five years later, there was this guy in homeroom who was successfully growing his hair kind of down past his collar. And he told me that he had an electric guitar and an amp at his house. Sure enough, he had a Madeira electric guitar and a Holmes guitar amplifier, like as big as a peanut butter sandwich, but it was loud and nasty. And that garage sale special was still kind of hanging around at my house, and was kind of like playing it at my folks all the time, and kind of talked them into sending me back to lessons. And then I took off pretty quick. I was listening so intensely that it had to kind of come out. I was like saturated with it, you know. My family moved from the north to the south on the East Coast the summer before my high school freshman year, and I didn't know anybody then. I was pissed, and I didn't want to be there, and I didn't want to meet anybody, and I sat in the basement and just played the guitar all summer long. I kind of excelled more that summer than I ever have in my life. There was nothing else I wanted to do during high school, and there was nothing else really I was considering doing after high school. I just didn't see anything else really. Not out of desperation, I was really into it. probably started playing Ernie Ball strings when I started changing the whole set instead of just the one broken string. You know, and that would have been summer of 1986. In selecting that first pack, don't you know that the strings are kept kind of safely behind the counter, like cigarettes or fantasy magazines. And so it's an important decision. It's one that I don't have a lot of hands-on time to kind of consider. And I pointed at the pack that looked like it was maybe could be on a stapled to a telephone pole, you know. And once I had it in my hand, Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck, Metallica, Steve Vai, you know, that was impressive. More so than the first pack, I remember my first box of strings that I purchased, because I was starting to earn cash money mowing lawns and giving guitar lessons and, you know, saving for a Mesa Boogie Head and a Les Paul. And I noticed that if I bought subscriptions to the magazines, they'd come to my door and they'd be less money per issue if I bought the whole thing. And I remember standing in front of the counter with the strings behind the guy, and he was pulling the packs out of a box, and I said, "How much for the box?" And he told me, and I kind of did. I said, "Oh, so that's less per pack if I buy the box. Maybe I should get the box, because I had like $100 cash. I can get anything I want. I'm gonna get a box of strings." And I bought a box, and it was a white box with a red eagle stamped on the one side of it. And I got the box home, and I had so many strings I was like a string factory all of a sudden. I could have everybody over for strings. I didn't know what I was gonna do with so many strings. Should I put them in the freezer? Next to the Klondikes and the Benson and Hedges, because I'll never play through all these strings, especially the big fat ones. Playing with Nine Inch Nails is more akin to a position in an orchestra as opposed to, a jam band or some kind of improvisational trek. It's meticulously schemed and devised and executed. Navigating our way through rehearsals is kind of song-specific, whether it's rather intuitive or sometimes can be a bit of a head scratcher, and takes a second to kind of reapproach. Yeah, I just like the push and pull of it. That's one thing I think I like about the guitar is this thing here. Like, there's not a lot of instruments where you have a push and pull with such a nuanced articulation, both kind of hands hitting the same string but in all these different distances but at the same time. And I think there's something to that I'm quite fond of. It is interesting because it's all right here. It's the strings and it's the chords, and they're really close to my body. And I play alone in the kitchen, all the time. And then I've been very fortunate to play on these exciting stages in front of so many people. It's not a straight shot from the kitchen to those stages, but just a bit of an arc there. But yeah, it's cool. And I think that's not acute only to guitar, but it's just playing an instrument, especially one you can carry. I think that lends itself to a very personal experience.